If your organization has dozens of dashboards, weekly reports flying around, and yet meetings still end with, "I don't trust that number," then you already know the pain. A lot of companies sit in what looks like success on paper, charts, KPIs, polished visuals. But the decision-making? Still gut feel. Still politics. Still spreadsheets on the side. Today we're talking about the toughest jump in the BI maturity journey, moving from level 2, which is mostly descriptive reporting, to level 3, where BI becomes integrated, governed, and trusted across the business. Welcome back to the BI channel, where data meets decisions. I'm Stella Sinclair, and this episode is all about what it really takes to climb that maturity ladder when you're stuck on the rung most organizations can't get past. Joining me is Nakel Nikiema, founder of the BI channel, BI strategist, and a global advocate for making intelligence actually usable. Nakel, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Stella. I'm excited for this one because people underestimate this transition. They think it's about upgrading tools or adding another dashboard. But level 2 to level 3 is where BI either becomes a real enterprise capability or it stays a reporting hobby.
Let's set the stage. When you look across organizations globally, so many plateau at level 2. They have dashboards, they have analysts, they have reporting tools. Why is level 2 to level 3 such a breaking point?
Because level 2 feels like you've arrived. Leaders can point to a BI portal and say, "We're data-driven." The reports look professional. The charts move. And that creates the illusion that the work is finished. But underneath that polish, the organization is often running on inconsistent definitions, hidden manual fixes, and competing versions of the truth. One team's revenue doesn't match another team's revenue. People don't know where numbers come from. Trust is fragile. And level 3 demands discipline, governance, ownership, and a willingness to standardize, even when it's uncomfortable.
So level 2 is where things look mature, and level 3 is where they actually become reliable.
Exactly. Level 3 is where BI becomes a system, not a collection of dashboards. It's repeatable. It's governed. It holds up under scrutiny. And people stop asking, "Is this number correct?" and start asking, "What should we do about it?"
Okay, let's get concrete. If someone listening is thinking, "We're definitely level 2, what are the non-negotiables for level 3? What has to exist?"
I like to frame it as 5 pillars. If you build these pillars, you're building level 3. If you skip them, you're basically decorating level 2. Pillar 1 is data governance. That means clear ownership of data domains, clear definitions, and rules for how data is created, changed, and consumed. Someone has to be accountable for what customer means, what active means, what churned means. Governance is where you remove ambiguity.
And without that, every dashboard becomes a debate club.
Exactly. Pillar 2 is data quality management. Level 2 organizations often clean data inside the dashboard layer. An analyst applies filters, exclusions, manual overrides, and it looks fine. But it's fragile because the next report does a different fix. Level 3 says, fix data at the source, or at least fix it in controlled pipelines. You measure quality. You monitor it. You know the root cause, not just the symptom.
That's a big mindset shift. It's less about making the graph pretty and more about engineering trust.
Perfectly said. Pillar 3 is standardized KPIs. One version of the truth isn't just a slogan. It's an agreement. What is revenue? Is it billed, collected, recognized? What is conversion? What counts as a lead? When KPIs are standardized, departments stop optimizing for their own definitions.
And that's where alignment can get tense because people might lose their favorite metric or their better-looking number.
Yes, which is why level 3 is cultural. Pillar 4 is metadata and cataloging. People need to discover data and understand it. Not just, here's a table, but here's what this field means, where it comes from, how often it refreshes, and who owns it. When metadata is missing, organizations rely on tribal knowledge. And tribal knowledge doesn't scale.
And Pillar 5?
The BI operating model. This is the part many teams avoid because it sounds like bureaucracy. But it's really clarity. Who builds certified datasets? Who approves KPI definitions? Who maintains dashboards? How do requests get prioritized? What's the process for changes? Without an operating model, BI becomes reactive. People shout, the loudest request wins, and quality suffers.
So at level 3, BI stops being an IT project and becomes an enterprise capability. Governance, quality, KPI standardization, metadata operating model.
Yes. And that's why it's so hard. You're not just changing dashboards. You're changing how the organization agrees on reality.
Let's talk about the human side, because you've hinted at it a few times. What behaviors have to change inside the organization for level 3 to stick?
I'd boil it down to 3 behavior shifts. First, teams stop arguing about whether the data is wrong and start discussing what the insight means. That's a trust milestone. Second, leaders use BI consistently, not occasionally. In level 2, BI is often something leaders reference when it supports a point. In level 3, it becomes part of the rhythm of decision-making. It's the default.
That's so real. If leadership only uses dashboards when it's convenient, no one else will treat governance as urgent.
Exactly. And third, departments align on definitions even when it's uncomfortable. This is where ego comes in. Because standardizing a KPI can feel like giving up control. But alignment is the price of scale. If every function has its own truth, you can't run the business. You can only argue about it.
So level 3 requires not just tools and processes, but maturity and collaboration. It's negotiation. It's compromise.
Yes, and consistency. People want fast results, but level 3 rewards repetition. Do the same thing the same way. Document it. Govern it. Improve it.
You take a global view of BI maturity. When you look across regions, some seem to progress faster from level 2 to level 3. What patterns do you see?
There are differences, and they often come down to 3 forces. First is regulatory culture. In parts of Europe, governance and compliance are baked into how organizations operate. So when you introduce data governance, it doesn't feel foreign. It feels expected. Second is digital infrastructure. In many Asian markets, cloud adoption has been aggressive. That can speed up modernization, integration, and standardization because the platforms make it easier to implement centralized models.
And the third force?
Organizational agility, often associated with North America. There's a strong appetite for innovation, experimentation, and rapid deployment. The challenge is consistency. Innovation can create fragmentation if governance doesn't keep up.
So different strengths, different friction points, but the same final destination.
Exactly. No matter where you are, level 3 is still about trust, governance, and consistent definitions.
Let's turn this into a practical roadmap. Imagine a BI leader listening right now thinking, okay, I'm convinced. Where do I begin? What are the first steps that actually move the needle from level 2 to level 3?
Start small but structured. First, create a BI governance charter. Keep it simple. What decisions it governs, who owns what, and how conflicts get resolved. If governance lives in someone's head, it's not governance. Second, run a KPI alignment workshop. Pick the highest impact metrics: revenue, customer, pipeline, churn, operational efficiency. Get stakeholders in a room and force clarity. What is the definition, calculation logic, and source? Then document it and publish it.
That workshop alone can reveal how many realities exist in one company.
It always does. Third, do a data quality audit. Don't start by blaming the data team or the business. Start by measuring. Where are the errors? What fields are incomplete? How often does it happen? Then trace backward to root causes. Level 3 fixes the system, not the symptom. Fourth, define your BI operating model. Who builds certified datasets? Who maintains semantic layers? Who owns dashboard certification? What's the process for new requests? You need rules so BI doesn't collapse under its own popularity.
And the fifth step:
create a leadership BI ritual. I love this one because it's simple and it changes behavior fast. For example, a weekly business review that uses the same trusted dashboards every week. Not optional. Not when we have time. When leaders show up and use BI consistently, the organization takes governance seriously.
That's the difference between BI as a tool and BI as a habit.
Yes. Level 3 is built through repeated, boring excellence. Not one big launch. Not a new visualization. Structured action, applied consistently.
Before we wrap, I want to pull out the big takeaways for listeners. Level 2 can look impressive, but it's delicate. It's dashboards on top of messy definitions. Level 3 is where BI becomes dependable, governed, consistent, and trusted. The foundation is governance, data quality, standardized KPIs, metadata, and a real operating model. And the unlock is behavior change, leadership consistency, and cross-functional alignment.
And I'll add one more thing. When you reach level 3, you're not just improving reporting. You're preparing the organization for what comes next. Scaling AI, predictive analytics, and decision intelligence. Those advanced capabilities collapse without trusted data and governance.
Nakel, thank you. You made a complex transition feel clear and, honestly, doable. Not easy, but doable.
Thank you, Stella. If organizations can get honest about where they are, level 3 becomes a path instead of a mystery.
And thanks for listening to the BI channel, where data meets decisions. If this episode helped you diagnose what's holding your BI back, share it with your BI team and with leadership, because level 3 isn't a dashboard problem. It's an organizational commitment. We'll be back next time with more insights on BI, AI, and decision intelligence. The BI channel, where data meets decisions.